are just off the foot of the table, and a win could take them out of the relegation zone. But Malines know they need to keep getting victories to assure themselves of safety. That's Malines versus Humber Lion on Monday match night, January 27. Kickoff is at 7:45 p.m. and it's right here on CVM TV.
Monday match night, powered by Sunshine Snacks and ABC Electrical.
Tell me something that makes a bubble bath even more enjoyable.
Candles. Music. Another person?
It was going so well. Until...
How about some toys?
Your daughters are so embarrassed.
All new.
Good answer.
Family Feud.
Brought to you by We Are the Caring Store, waiting to serve you. It's time to experience independent living. Visit us today.
Yeah, man, this is Geomar, and this is CVM Tapping. Bang! It's Monday, January 27, 2025. Welcome to CVM News at noon. I'm Ramon Gordon. 3 men, including a JDF officer, are dead after an early morning attack near the Olympia Crown Hotel on Malines Road in St. Andrew Monday. Police say around 4:40 a.m. 2 gunmen on a motorbike opened fire on an Audi with 5 people inside. The bike crashed into a wall, killing the attackers instantly. The car's drivers were later pronounced dead. Stay tuned for updates. What's usually a lively Sunday at popular eatery Ribby's Ultra Lounge turned tense last night as protesters gathered outside the Kingston hotspot. They were demanding justice for Jermaine Richards, a chef at the restaurant who was fatally shot by an off-duty policeman on Thursday morning. The placard-wielding demonstrators from Fleet Street, where Richards lived, chanted as they marched in front of the Arden Road venue. The protest coincided with Ribby's Big People Sunday, a deliberate move by the residents, as they say it drew attention to their cause.
Come here, them send out people to come here, I want them. Them, man. Them get the message.
Claims that restaurant management has yet to reach out. We'll have more details at 7. Jamaica's labor force is currently around 1.4 million, with unemployment at 3.5%. That's the latest Consumer Affairs survey. But what does it all mean? Economist Dr. Damian King shared his insights on CVM's lead story.
There is good in these numbers, and there is caution and limits in these numbers. The good is that the low unemployment rate of 3.5% represents a robust improvement in the labor market. And I mean that to say that it is not an artificial creation or a veneer on bad news. It's not because people are leaving the labor force and the source of low unemployment is because people are no longer in the labor force. You quoted the participation rate in your report, and the participation rate has gone up. That means that fewer persons are actually outside the labor force. So we not only have a higher rate of employment, but we have a higher rate of employment on a larger labor force.
King, who is also the executive director at the Caribbean Policy Research Institute, Capri, says there's a deeper development behind the employment rate figures.
Accompanying the low unemployment rate is the fact that the increase in employment over the last 7 years has come overwhelmingly from people who are working full-time. That is more than 35 hours per week. And the majority of those are working in formal sector jobs, not informally. So there's a robustness and a reality to the low unemployment rate. Further, it is corroborated by the anecdotal but widespread evidence when you speak to business people, when you speak to people who are in the business of recruiting and hiring, everybody will tell you that it has gotten difficult to hire new staff. And the labor market is more competitive now than it used to be. So there's a reality and a robustness to the unemployment numbers.
An internal Jamaica Labour Party JLP election saw a victory for Moreland Wilson as MP candidate for Westmoreland Western. Prime Minister Andrew Holness and JLP leader Andrew Holness met with party representatives recently, endorsing the party's choice and noting the process was a fair and democratic one.
We had announced that the party would do a review of the local government election, and that review was done across several constituencies. Any issues that were picked up would have been addressed, and then we would have moved into a process of consultation. We did one consultation last Sunday in this constituency that is then followed up by this meeting. Then there are polls to be done, and then that will give us a full picture as to where we stand with the candidate and with the voters in the constituency, and that will help to inform strategy going forward. So there is a process that is ongoing. You know, we try to do our business in a very organized and disciplined way. It is not necessarily for the glare of the public, but we try to ensure that everything that we do is orderly, rules-based, can stand up to scrutiny, and ultimately Jamaicans can be proud of the democracy that exists in the Jamaica Labour Party. It is a people-based party, so everything that we do is about consulting the people and hearing what they have to say.
Health is essential to our daily lives, and supplements can play a vital role. Dr. Orlando Thomas, general practitioner at the Thomas Medical and Shockwave Center, shared helpful tips this morning on Sunrise.
Amount of supplements available are humongous, and most of them, to be honest, 90% of them are useless. So first of all, you need to look at the labels and see exactly what they are made from. Most supplements are synthetic. You need to look at supplements that are made from whole foods. That's one. And there are recommended brands. Most brands on the market, the popular brands, are useless. For good brands, you're looking at things like Garden of Life, Metagenetics, Thorn. You could just ask your doctor or your herbalist or your health food store attendant, and they could give you good brands. Well, you're looking for amounts, and what we have on the labels are RDA, recommended daily allowance. This is usually the minimum amount that you need, for example, to survive. So, for example, the RDA for vitamin C is about 60 milligrams, but the amount you really need per day is about 1,000. So, you know, so looking at the RDA and it says 100%, that's not very useful. You need sometimes 3, 4, 10 times the RDA. So look at the amount that's in it, and that can guide you as to, is this a minimum amount or the amount you really need? Yeah. For the men, zinc. Zinc is for your prostate, zinc is for your testosterone. It makes you being a man, it makes you strong. Zinc is for your immune system. Yeah.
Stand up in
very,
the Gideon.
very important.
Okay, so the zinc, all right?
All right.
And any for women?
For women, generally, those ones I mentioned, but women are going to need a lot of selenium. That's for your thyroid. A lot of women are having low thyroid function, weak, lethargic, brain fog. You just don't know what happened to you.
A constant battle remains at the fore for the preservation of coastal and marine life. However, experts say non-traditional approaches are needed for a mindset shift in how it's dealt with. We dive into that perspective with Adrian Williams.
Approximately 71% of the Earth is covered by water, of which 97% is found in oceans and seas. It's a big reason curator and researcher from the Dominican Republic, Yina Jimenez Suriel, wants a shift in the way people think about and treat oceanic bodies. She spoke in Portland with Collaboration Discovery Group TBA 21 Academy at the second convening of the Current Caribbean 4.
instead of thinking on the Caribbean as just, insular and continental lands, let's try to think on the Caribbean from an oceanic perspective, which is that we are inhabiting a succession of mountains between waters. So we are inhabiting on the top of really bigger mountains that rise from the bottom of the sea right to near to the sky, let's say.
In a bid to encourage persons to protect the blue carbon ecosystem, the researcher urges the public to view the sea and marine life not only for fishing and recreation, but as means of calm and relaxation. General Manager for the Alligator Head Foundation in Portland, Nikki Myers, believes in using creativity to make scientific meaning more relatable to the public.
The way in which we execute what we have to do as a science-based, community-driven organization sometimes is not normally what people will see as the normal route, but we find that it's important for us to reach into spaces that we would never normally get to, and to do that we have to speak the language. And so the language of art is deep, and it connects on different levels where science doesn't always reach.
What may seem here like arbitrary out-of-sync dance routines are moves forming a part of a meditation practice. Protecting inland water bodies in conjunction with coastal and marine life will benefit quality of life on Earth. For now, discussion of policies remain on the table, but with no regulations and proper enforcement in place, our inland and blue carbon ecosystems remain at risk. Adrian Williams for CVM News.
And with that, we take a break. More after this.
Make yourself comfortable in authentic Hanes underwear. Nothing beats the never out of style ultra soft 100% premium cotton Hanes underwear. Hanes Comfort Fit V, crew neck and A-shirts, absorbent Hanes socks, Comfort Flex Hanes boxer briefs for men, and stylish itch-free Hanes underwear for women and kids. Make yourself comfortable this holiday season, inside, out, and underneath with Hanes underwear for that cool all-day comfort everyone deserves.
I only have Hanes for you.
Sports fans, get off the sidelines and join the action with Just Bet. Bet on your favorite teams anywhere online at www.supremegames.com or visit one of our 100 locations island-wide. With enough games and the best odds, you can win big with Just Bet. Be a part of the game. Feel the thrill of winning. Join the action with Just Bet. Must be 18 years old or to bet. Game responsibly.
Make money now with local City and Guilds and ABE endorsed certificates and Distinction College. Start new online and face-to-face classes very soon in our Make Money Now career courses and get qualified jobs worldwide, or start your own business in practical pediatric, geriatric, and psychiatric nursing, phlebotomy and pharmacy technician, early childhood education, childcare, cashiering, call center, event planning, receptionist, customer service, housekeeping, waitering, food preparation, bartending, cake baking, plumbing, motor vehicle, electrical installation, air conditioning, makeup, hairdressing, nail technician, and cosmetology. No subjects required, no age limit. Register this week and get City and Guilds Maths and English classes for free. Call us at 3564167.
Welcome back. It's time for our discussion segment. Opposition Senator Peter Bunting has strongly criticized the government's economic management during his State of the Nation debate in the Senate on Friday. He raised concerns about economic policies, claiming they have fallen short, and warned of an impending technical recession. Joining us now to unpack these issues is economist Dr. Chris Stokes. Welcome, Dr. Stokes.
Thank you very much for having me.
Dr. Stokes, for our audience, please, what do you think are the main factors contributing to what some have described as Jamaica's negative economic growth?
Right. Okay. So Mr. Bunting referred to it technically being in a recession, and a recession very loosely is defined of 2 consecutive quarters of economic decline or decline in GDP, roughly speaking. Now, there's a lot more sophistication to that in some quarters, but that's the general rule of thumb for a recession. And we saw 3.5% decline in the September quarter, and let's see what happens in the quarter end in December. It is possible that it will be negative as well, if not likely. So one could say, Jamaica is in a recession, so sort of loosely speaking. How I think about it, though, is that Jamaica has had a growth problem since the early 1970s, regardless of the party that is in power. You know, we saw some spikes during the 1980s. We saw under Dr. Nigel Clark, where, you know, on his way out, he was saying that, you know, we have had an unprecedented number of consecutive quarterly growth, all of which is true. However, that growth is still anemic. You know, it's still 1%. You know, in a good year may have going on 2%. It's not
Dr.
3
Sook.
and 5% growth.
Dr. Sook,
So the problem that Senator Bunting identified is a national problem since our you know, post-emancipation period.
I see. Dr. Stokes, what accounts for the rate at which our economy is growing? You say it's been relatively anemic year on year, quarter on quarter. What's accounting for that trend?
We go back to let me speak in the immediate case and then let me go back a little bit. In the immediate case, the effects of Hurricane Beryl, continuous rains through Raphael, did put a crimp in economic activity significantly, especially in the agricultural sector, which I think went down 12.5%. Also, you may recall that we had some travel advisories issued by the US, and even after those were adjusted, we still have the ongoing crime problem which affects in a significant way tourism, and tourism is also a major contributor to GDP. So in the you know, if one is looking for a reason in the last 6 months, 8 months, 2024, that is it. However, we have to recall that the projections for Jamaica's growth have always been very low. And your question is, why is that, generally speaking? And it comes back to productivity. It comes back to the things that we're able to produce and sell to the rest of the world, produce and sell to ourselves, and the price that we're able to sell that to with each other, between each other, internally in Jamaica. And to the extent that wages are low, that consumption, the power to consume is low, profits are not at a level that allow for the payment of salaries at a level that will cause people to consume even more.
Dr.
So we create a cycle of a productivity problem, and the economy has been faltering.
Certainly. It sounds like what you're describing is a systematic issue, because what the Prime Minister has said and continues to say in the past is that there is a skills deficit in Jamaica, and until we make real and significant strides in addressing that issue, then we'll likely not see the change that is required to move our economy forward. Are you of that belief also, and if so, what are the next steps that we should be prioritizing?
Right. So the skills is part of it. It's part of the sort of the productivity equation. But bear in mind that a lot of these people that we say are low skilled, you know, they go to other islands and do very well, and migrate to the US and do very well, and go to Canada and do very well. So we have to be careful how much we put it on that. What we do have is the human resource productivity is not where it's supposed to be, and that is only part of many things. Investment, the innovation in the investment in businesses, innovation, the creation of goods and services that are valuable that other people can buy. So it's not just the fact that we have a human resource productivity issue and human resource capital issue is part of it. But I do not think that it is the thing that is driving the low productivity and the low growth. But we cannot have high growth without fixing that. But it's not just fix that and then all of a sudden everything grows. You have to have that. You have to have people investing. You have to be producing. You have to be selling. You have to be exporting. You have to be selling between each other to create that virtuous cycle of productivity. And we are, not many countries have been able to do that. And we are struggling with it right now. But I think the investments in human capital and physical capital are being emphasized now. And I think that is certainly part of the way forward to increased economic growth.
Dr. Stokes, what you've described a while ago is certainly very complex, yes? So I think you're best positioned to answer this. Based on the current challenges, what do you predict the next few quarters to look like? What challenges may we come up on? And what should we be doing to preemptively prepare for that?
Well, the bodies responsible have that is going to be flat. Maybe even, with a material risk that it is going to be negative as we sort, rebuild and start again. But I come back to my point. There's a structural growth problem. So when you see the Ministry of Economic Growth, and you hear the Prime Minister emphasizing now growth initiatives, it is because that is clear. No government has actually been able to effectively address that in a sustainable way. He recognizes that as a problem. His argument has always been that first, economic stability, which we have, hold on to that, and then we pivot to growth. Now, it's interesting to me that Mr. Keith Duncan